And I went right to their website, and it did say, if you walk in there, they have the rights to AI simulate you to do whatever they wanted you to do forever without compensation to you.
As a young child, Edwina Adams was quiet by nature. She would whisper when speaking. In boot camp, she was thrashed for not yelling loud enough. But when she discovered her ex-husband was a con man, she started to make noise, proving you don't have to be loud to make some noise. Now Edwina's on a mission to motivate. So kick back and tune in for candid conversations with those who have harnessed the power of their voices. Let's make some noise.
Welcome to Let's Make Some Noise, where you can make some noise no matter what you sound like, and where noise is my acronym for a narrative of inspiration, strength, and encouragement. We have Rebecca Caplinger on the show today, and let me give you a quick intro for her. She's got a lot. I could say a lot about her, but she is a domestic violence survivor. Totally respect her for showing up as that. And she also has a law degree. However, she has failed the bar 3 times. She is going to pass the bar, and she has a consulting business. But her passion is talking about how AI is affecting a lot of things. And she, I teach about personal branding, and she knows how to personal brand. She has done that for herself, and that's what made her stand out to me. But she also went viral on, what was it, X and Reddit,
Everything.
talking
It was
about this AI.
horrifying. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't hit like mainstream like NBC, but it was everywhere. It was horrifying.
So what were you talking about, and what happened?
Yeah, so basically, I grew up in Jersey, and now I'm right outside of, well, now I'm in Philly, and right outside of Philly, there is this new Netflix house that started getting advertised. And it just like was weird to me. Like I didn't really understand the premise of it. It was like interactive Netflix games. I don't know. It was just not my age range, I guess. Maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. And I did a little bit more digging into it. And then I started getting obviously TikToks about it. And I saw somebody post, people need to be looking into the terms because Netflix is a little bit shady under like Section 8 or something, like the name and likeness and branding rules. Then I went in and I did my own, research on it right on their website because I don't trust everything from TikTok. And I went right to their website, and it did say, if you walk in there, they have the rights to AI simulate you to do whatever they wanted you to do forever without compensation to you. And then they could be their assignees and third parties and advertisements and all these things. And I don't know. I got a weird vibe off of it. And I also, in law school worked with internet crimes against children. So I've seen the really negative, things about AI and what it can produce. And I just didn't like that if you brought your kids there, you were just signing off your kids. I mean, these are children who don't even understand consent yet. So I just thought, make a video on it. And I don't know what happened. It just blew up.
Yeah. So your videos were great, though. They were really well done, and obviously you're educated on the legal side. So you brought really great information to the videos. And this is a hot topic right now. Like I said, I'm teaching about it because with personal branding, and you help in branding with companies, I think it's super important to show up authentically because a lot of people are trying to cut corners and they're just like creating AI content to grow their business. Now, don't get me wrong. I think AI can be great for like systemizing and doing a bunch of stuff because I'm a big systems person. So there's a lot of good stuff that AI can do, but your likeness, you're just degrading your own product. And we are a product that is we're more valuable than anything. So yes, your likeness, your voice, that is important.
I always say that AI
And
can do everything but have its own personality. So that
yeah,
is something that it needs to be looked into and taken very strongly because it didn't live. It doesn't have memories. It doesn't have bad things, good things happen to them. So that's why I always show up, on social media. I talk about my failures. I've talked about failing the bar 3 times now, like,
uh-uh.
and it just shows like, perfection is out. I think, people want like, you have somebody to relate to. They don't want somebody that's unobtainable. And that's what I try to tell these CEOs. It's, you live a very unobtainable life and you need to learn how to keep yourself relevant. And, tell those stories of when you were in college and you messed up with the love of your life, but it taught you to like be loyal and focus on one thing at a time. And like AI can't replace those stories and those bad things. And people are afraid. I mean, listen, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, well, why would I hire you as a lawyer? You failed 3 times. It's just, it's all hoopla, it's just not, it's not real. It's just trolls. And I think that me being authentic has been just kind of the basis of my successes. So I always say, AI won't fail. It could, but it's not going to reflect on it the same way as like a human.
No, there's so much from learned experience for sure. And my thing is, I say what you're saying in a tagline form is that your story is your authentic authority.
Mhm.
Like, no, so a lot of people could be doing what you're doing, but your story makes it totally different. And that's going to attract a lot of people. So I love it. I love that you're showing up authentically. So thank you for doing that
Of
because
course.
it's a great example to everybody else.
Yeah.
So what happened with AI? Because now I hadn't heard of Netflix House when you posted that. I know it must be like a rotating thing because I'm in Texas and there's now one like in the Dallas area. So these are coming to people's towns near them. And have they changed their wording?
They did. They did. And at first they
Okay.
were hitting specific states to where they had really broad AI laws because there's no federal package for an AI law. There's just nothing out there yet because it's so new, which is extremely scary. And the states had the power over their own AI laws. But I think it was like a couple days after my video went viral and it had gone, and I think it was 10 days. President Trump put all the state power of AI back into the feds. However, there is no federal framework yet. So, like, that's like the only issue. Like, there's just nothing. So, they're developing
Yeah.
it. So, I guess we'll see. However, the one thing that they did leave out was kids. So, that's still state by state. So, like,
Mm,
make it make sense.
weird.
I don't know. I'm not in politics. I try to stay out of it, but it's like it's all intermingled so horrendously.
Yeah.
So that's questionable. And then New York did something really great, which is if you're using an AI actor, essentially it has to be like you have to do like a what's it called? Like a warning almost, like fake
Mm,
actors, non-human, like because it does those non-humanoids, it's not going to be good for our brains. Our brains like humans. So that's why we
mhm.
feel weird when we see like AI videos. They did that, which was awesome. So now you're kind of restricting any type of entertainment flow into specific ecosystems. And when you have really big systems like Netflix, that's really annoying because now they have to state by state, kind of get around information, oh, they can't watch that content because there's an AI actor. So was pleased to report that also 10 days after Netflix House did change and they took out any of the AI simulated likeness. They took it out completely. So that
That's
was really
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't help but think that people like you bringing attention to it and it going so viral, they're
Yeah.
watching that stuff. Like social media is powerful. So
I think once I
that's a
started
good thing.
realizing the specific like pages that picked up my accounts. I mean, one of them in particular has like, Donald Trump and Elon Musk follow me. And it's like if you're blowing up my video, that means it's on their timelines now. And we did reach out. One of the programs I talked to, they reached out to Netflix. They didn't have anything to say about it. They haven't reached out for any. They haven't said any comments on it. So I think it's safe to say
Hmm.
that I would say it's alleged. They probably knew what they were trying to get around, and I'm very happy, to bring attention to it. And people don't know, and it freaks me out that you have a whole generation of kids now who aren't even being taught government, who don't know that you have like a right to privacy, and they think that surveillance and right to like privacy when it comes to your likeness is the same thing when it's
Yeah.
not. And if I had $1 for every time someone commented, well, every time you walk in public, you're on camera. Well, that doesn't mean people can profit off your likeness, and
Hmm.
they just don't know. So that's
Yeah.
scary. Scary times.
So I made a post recently. I think it was Norway. And I don't know that they passed the legislation, but they like it's in the works or it's presented to be passed. And that's what they're doing. They're saying like from birth, it is if it's your voice, your image, and anybody if they use it, then you're going to be able to sue them and win, you know.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
in America you have to
so
trademark yourself now. Everybody should
you
be
have to what?
trademarking themselves online. If you have any sort of platform, you should have a trademark attached to it. That is my That is, I mean, not legal advice, not a lawyer. Again, I have to like say that every 5 words, but
Yeah.
I am going to trademark everything about myself because it's unique and that's what companies want now. So I just see it not
Yeah.
going this way.
And hopefully the legislation moves to where that is just that's what it because that's what they did. Norway said, "Hey, it is your own trademark. Like
Mhm.
from birth, it's yours legally." So that would be amazing if America did that. I honestly don't see that happening for a very, very long time because we're going to have to just keep getting louder and making this a conversation.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think that in America we do, from just like how I'm thinking in my head, it would be like we do have this right to privacy, right? Where we can profit off of our own likeness and this and that. But I think that they're just going to make it really easy for companies to take advantage of us giving away that right. Like I think that that's already the case, really, because you can't just take someone's identity and profit off of it. That's crazy. However, I do think that just how our country works with companies, it's going to be a lot. It's the same thing after 9/11, and you take away surveillance, and it's everyone gets really scared, so they just give up the right, and now they know everything, and then they sell it to third parties, and we have ads. It's that next thing that they want. It's that likeness factor. So they're already watching us, and now they just
yeah,
want the rights to you so that they can. That's what I think, is so that they can recreate. That's what I think.
I'm right there with you. I believe that.
Not to put my
So
tinfoil hat on, but I do. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist when it comes to this topic.
I think most of us are
Yeah.
these days. You kind of have to be with
Right.
everything we've been through. Neither of us are giving legal advice, but piggybacking on this is that like I speak and people hire me to speak and I have added into my contract that like whatever's recorded, yeah, you can use a few clips of this and that, but you cannot use my likeness, you cannot replicate me. Like I've even included that in there because this is a real issue and we need to not pretend that it can't be
It's just
done.
not happening. Yeah.
uh, yeah, so that was another reason why I wanted you on here is to just again keep the conversation going and let people realize how serious it is that you going viral and then 10 days later this a lot of change happened and it could not have been from that, but it very well could have been. And that's how powerful our voices can be. So, make noise. And again, for me, noise isn't just being loud and obnoxious. It's like, how do we use our voice in a positive way to affect
Or a
positive
polarizing way.
change?
I like to be a positive polarizing person. That's what I like to call myself. It's not, the companies think much different of me for sure than like the average viewer. But for me, I think that I am a little polarizing, but that's not always a bad thing, I think.
No, that's awesome. I actually taught a class today because it was my personal branding, and there's like the 4 creator archetypes, and you would fall into that, like that messenger archetype where it's like, no, like I'm sounding the alarm. Here's what's going on. It's
Yeah,
like
and
you're the
there's just so
messenger.
much. It just kills me, TikTok. Like every year, I'm getting older and older every year. And I started at 19, and I was off of it for a while and built accounts and would get off of it. But it's just changed so much. And even like this little society, the digital society, I like to call it. And I mean, you could go out online and say the sky is blue, and people are like, no, it's not. Because I go outside and
Yeah.
I feel like it's green, and it's like, no, like the law literally, like I'm putting the law on the screen, and it's kind of this middle ground of you want to educate people, but in such a world where there's so much information and everybody has an opinion, it almost feels like nobody wants it or to be educated.
Mm-mm.
The people do, but the people don't. Only when it's agreeable. And it's been really interesting to navigate these kids, who you don't you like I go to their page and it's like they're 12, honey. I look at these kids online, and it's like, you're listening to someone, and even I listen to people and they know more than me, and it's okay for other people to know more than you and learn from them. And I think
Mm-hmm.
people have forgotten that because everyone knows everything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been really interesting trying to explain these concepts, because I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't care, so why would they?
Right.
you know
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
We
That
care.
is
We're
true.
older. We've seen it. We're like, this is crazy, but this is normal to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all normal.
Yeah, I have a 6th grader and a 7th grader, and I've talked about this type of stuff with them for years, like even before it was AI and even before they had access to devices of any kind, talking about how anything you say, you type in an email, in a text, it's not yours. It's, I don't know, anybody's
It's a
that
cloud.
has access to it, which is a lot of people. So you have to be careful. Like even if you're not doing anything wrong, it could be perceived a certain way. Like you just have to be careful. So yeah, I wish a lot of people, I mean, I know a lot of parents and they're good parents, but they don't think to start talking to kids that young about it, but you should. I mean, kids are
I mean,
smart
I
if you
could go
just
off about the whole
communicate.
Roblox thing. I have my feelings about children-centered like gaming systems and children-generated media and like the subliminal messaging. It's all things I studied. So it's really interesting
Yeah.
that, I just went in and I reread my master's papers, right? And I would write these crazy papers about these. I remember being like, oh, I think it might have applied. It's exactly what's happening right now. It's just this like mass information going to these kids, and it's almost you don't want to get them too off of social media and then be the outlier, but then you don't want to protect them, and then there's just not enough middle ground yet. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, there could be, but I mean, we could get into COPA and all these other things, but I digress. I don't want Zuckerberg on me too. That's one person we're gonna wait to mess with. It's Zuckerberg.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's a big one.
he scares me.
Well, so now how are you helping people? Because you have Sidebar Consulting and it's a big deal, right? What do you do for them?
Yeah, so it all starts out with strategy, and it's really just creating the infrastructure to be able to, when we do end up branding them and putting out content, we have all these different channels in order to maximize engagement throughout every channel and platform. Everyone's a little bit different, so it's kind of like the Sidebar way. There's a way to edit on each platform I've learned, and a way to, do your hashtags, when to post, and not everything is the same to me. I do my branding a little bit differently. I do my media schedules a little bit differently, and I play games with the algorithm to see what works and what doesn't. And I just sit with the CEOs and I figure out what they want from their companies, if they're looking to exit, if they're looking to scale it, if they're looking to build this base in order to just maximize the amount of capital that's in their network, and then have somebody invest in them. And I think just learning each wants and needs, and then you kind of formulate their audience around that, whether it's the buyer, right? If it's a product that could do really well with college students, you might have a lot of college students as your audience. You need to market a certain way. Well, if you're just building this crazy piece of technology that you want to sell out, you're going to want to pack your audience with investors and bankers and people and consultants and those types of people. Those editing styles are just a little bit different. And I've kind of just learned how to maneuver that. So it starts there, and then you just scale after that. And it's a lot of, what are your opinions on this? People are scared of opinions. I love opinions. I love talking about people's opinions. I think it's what makes us human, right? So I tell them, "Oh, I don't know if I should say that. Say it.
Right.
Say it. What do you like? I don't know when people got so scared. I do know that everyone's saying, oh, you can't get canceled anymore unless you're being absolutely insane. I do kind of agree with that. So I tell my CEOs, if you have an opinion on something happening, share your voice, and those who are meant to fall in your lane will follow. Those who are meant to follow you will follow. Those who are not meant to will not. It's very
Exactly.
simple with how the algorithm works. So, and I then go online and I try to find different articles that we can respond to, things like that. And then at night with the entertainers, it's a lot of just the same thing, the same sidebar type of scaling, except for entertainers and influencers and things like that. I'm helping them kind of work through the contracts. Obviously, again, no legal advice, but they're my friends. So we sit down and, I kind of explain these things to them, and, they have their own legal teams they can then go back to and have better contracts drafted or whatever. So I'm just kind of learning the new systems happening in Philly, the new nightlife coming up, new owners, new managers, things like that. And then just creating content around what's happening in that little ecosystem. So it's like
That's
the event. I
awesome.
call myself the marketing Avengers because that's like editing, photography, videography, podcasting, digital media, talking to people. Yeah, I'm like the Avengers.
Yeah.
That's what I call myself.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's all. The content Avenger.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, so thank you for jumping on here and bringing some attention to this very serious topic of AI and our own brand, right? How can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
So on Instagram and TikTok, you can go to Sidebar with Beck, BEC, or you can go to sidebarconsulting.org. On top of that, on LinkedIn, it's just Rebecca Caplinger, very simple, Caplinger. But if you go to my website, everything's on there. So that's the most, I guess, convenient way for everybody.
Okay. Good deal. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And everybody else, go check out Becca and see you later.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for listening. Two things. If today's episode brought you inspiration, strength, or a new perspective, I would be so appreciative if you subscribe and leave a review. Your feedback helps me keep bringing stories and insights that matter most to you. And second of all, to stay connected or engage with the community, go to edwinaadams.com/links. That's LINKS. And remember, you're one step closer to building beyond your adversity and crafting a life of impact and purpose. Keep making noise, and we'll see you on the next episode.